ABC General Hospital spoilers reveal that the week ahead, from April 27 through May 1, promises to turn up the heat in ways that have me both excited and a little anxious in the best possible sense. What strikes me most is how the writers are weaving together separate threads of suspicion, hidden danger, and quiet desperation, creating a tapestry of tension that feels fresh yet deeply rooted in the history we longtime fans cherish. It's not just about big explosions or dramatic returns anymore. It's the slow burn of doubt and the way small secrets can suddenly threaten everything. Take Jen Sidwell, for instance. That man carries such a commanding presence, and now he has something very private weighing on his mind. Cassius, the figure, stepping into old shadows with a face that echoes Nathan West has skillfully planted a troubling seed, the idea that Lucas Jones might have had a hand in Marco's death. I've watched Sidwell grapple with grief and vengeance before, and I can already picture him turning this suspicion over and over in his thoughts. He isn't the type to dismiss something so personal lightly, and in the coming episodes it may prove nearly impossible for him to shake the notion. Here's where my mind wanders to a slightly different possibility than what we've seen on screen so far. What if this planted idea isn't just Cassius stirring trouble for its own sake, but part of a larger protective maneuver? Lucas has always been a healer at heart, the kind of steady, compassionate doctor who puts others first even when his own life is in turmoil. Yet if Sidwell latches onto this theory, Lucas could find himself in genuine peril. I keep wondering, could Ross Cullum, already navigating his own web of alliances and betrayals, catch wind of Sidwell's doubts and decide to exploit them? Using Marco's phone to lay a clever trap for Lucas would be a chilling twist, cold, calculated, and perfectly in line with the dangerous undercurrents running through Port Charles right now. It would force Lucas to defend not just his innocence, but his very freedom, and that kind of pressure could bring out strengths in him we haven't fully seen yet. I've always believed Lucas has more steel in his spine than some give him credit for, and this storyline might be the very thing that proves it. Then there's Elizabeth Baldwin, dear Liz, whose quiet strength has carried her through so many storms over the decades. She may struggle mightily to set aside her growing worries about Drew Kane after his recent visit and that heartfelt plea for help. The more she reflects on their conversation, the more convinced she could become that something is profoundly wrong. From what the latest updates suggest, Drew remains trapped in a terrifying state, paralyzed for months, because Willow has been administering a powerful drug that keeps him locked inside his own body, aware but unable to move or speak freely. He's still holding on to hope that Elizabeth, or perhaps someone close to him, will piece together the truth and come to his rescue. This particular development has me reflecting on how differently I see Willow's arc compared to some of the more straightforward villain turns we've witnessed in the past. Willow started as such a gentle soul seeking redemption after her painful history with Dawn of Day. Yet here she is, allegedly keeping her own husband in a living nightmare. Part of me wonders if there's more to it than pure malice, perhaps a desperate attempt to maintain control amid her own unresolved traumas, or even an influence from external forces we haven't fully uncovered. Whatever the deeper motivation, the situation is heartbreaking. Elizabeth's growing unease feels so authentic. She's a nurse, a mother, and a survivor who has learned to trust her instincts. If she begins connecting the dots, her quiet determination could become the catalyst that finally frees Drew. I ask myself, will Liz act swiftly enough, or will her natural caution cause her to hesitate just long enough for the danger to deepen? Either way, this thread adds such a layer of intimate suspense that I find myself thinking about it long after the episode ends. And then there's Jocelyn Jacks, that fiery young woman who has grown up so much on our screens. She could be walking into serious trouble if Ross Cullum suddenly recalls that she was present in his hospital room right after the shooting and surgery. That memory alone might spark a flood of questions and suspicions in Cullum's mind. Will he begin actively searching for answers? Jack Brennan has done everything in his power to shield Jocelyn's connection to the WSB, but I've learned over the years that in Port Charles, no secret stays buried forever, especially when someone as cunning as Cullum is involved. The possibility that he could uncover the truth and set his sights on her sends a genuine shiver through me, not out of fear for her safety in a distressing way, but out of that delicious anticipation that only a well-crafted soap storyline can deliver. What fascinates me is how Jocelyn's involvement feels like a natural evolution of her character. She has always been bold and protective of her family, much like her mother Carly. Teaming up with Brennan to bring down Cullum shows her stepping into a more mature, high-stakes role, yet it also exposes her to risks that could have far-reaching consequences. Brennan's efforts to keep her safe are touching, but I suspect the writers are building toward a moment where Jocelyn must rely on her own wits and courage. It reminds me of the strong women who have defined this show, from Laura to Anna to Carly herself. Jocelyn is carving out her own place among them, and I couldn't be prouder as a longtime viewer. These three storylines, Sidwell's private suspicions threatening Lucas, Elizabeth's mounting concerns for the helpless Drew, and Jocelyn's potential exposure to Cullum's wrath, are converging in a way that makes the air in Port Charles feel charged with electricity. They aren't isolated incidents. They speak to larger themes the show has always handled so beautifully: the consequences of hidden truths, the power of loyalty and betrayal, and the quiet heroism of ordinary people facing extraordinary pressure. I find myself asking gentle questions as I watch. How much longer can Drew endure his silent imprisonment before someone notices the subtle signs he's surely trying to send? Will Sidwell's grief push him toward rash action that endangers innocent lives, or will it lead him to unexpected alliances? And for Jocelyn, is this the moment she truly proves she belongs in the dangerous world she's chosen to enter? The beauty of General Hospital is that the answers rarely come easily, and when they do, they often reshape relationships in profound ways. After all these decades, what continues to draw me back is the emotional honesty beneath the intrigue. The show never forgets that behind every scheme and suspicion are real feelings: love, fear, regret, and hope. Whether it's a mother's protective instinct, a doctor's moral dilemma, or a young woman's determination to do what's right, these stories resonate because they remind us that life, like Port Charles, is full of second chances and unexpected turns. As we head into the last days of April and step into May, I can feel the momentum building. The heat is rising, my friends, in the most engaging and character-driven way. Small doubts are blossoming into major conflicts, and hidden dangers are inching closer to the surface. I'll be right here in my chair, cup in hand, heart fully invested, eager to see how these talented actors bring every moment to life. Because that's the magic of this show we love so dearly. It keeps us guessing, keeps us caring, and keeps us coming back for more, year after year, confident that even the darkest shadows eventually give way to new dawns. And I wouldn't trade that feeling for anything. Port Charles still has so many surprises in store, and I, for one, am grateful to be along for every single twist and turn. The writers are crafting layers of clever deception and watchful tension that remind me why I've stayed loyal all these decades. Two storylines in particular are capturing my attention: Valentine Cassadine's daring gamble involving Nina Reeves, and Ethan Lovett's careful integration into Sonny Corinthos' world. Each carries its own warmth and edge, and together they create that wonderful sense of momentum that keeps us coming back day after day. Valentine has always been one of those complex men who walks a fine line between charm and danger, and his latest plan feels both bold and deeply personal. He's enlisting Nina's help in a risky scheme aimed at Jack Brennan. Nina will pretend she learned from their daughter Charlotte about a special location where Valentine regularly meets with his little girl. She'll pass that information along, giving Brennan hope that he's finally close to capturing Valentine. But here's where it gets deliciously clever. Valentine is counting on staging a near miss, a situation that makes Brennan believe he almost had him, while Valentine slips away once again, perhaps even turning the tables in some subtle way. I've watched Valentine orchestrate intricate games for years, and this one feels like a classic Cassadine maneuver, yet with a softer, more protective undercurrent because it involves Charlotte. Nina, for her part, is stepping into a delicate role. She's a mother who has fought hard for her relationships, and agreeing to this deception shows both her lingering trust in Valentine and her own desire to regain some control in a world that often spins too fast. Of course, plans, this intricate, rarely unfold exactly as intended. I keep wondering whether Carly Spencer or young Charlotte might step in at just the wrong or perhaps right moment. Carly's protective instincts run deep, especially where family is concerned, and the fear that Valentine could actually end up in custody this time seems to linger with her like a quiet shadow. In my view, this storyline is playing out differently from some of Valentine's past schemes. Rather than pure manipulation, there's an undercurrent of genuine partnership with Nina and a father's quiet determination to stay free for his daughter. It humanizes him in ways that feel refreshing after all these years. Will the plan succeed in buying Valentine more time, or will an unexpected interruption turn the tables? I suspect the writers are building toward a moment of real tension that could strengthen or strain the bonds between Valentine, Nina,